Alright, we got a pressure washer obtained off of Craigslist. Quite a few years old probably. And I guess it's a Karcher running a Honda GC160 engine, 5.0 horse. And we're going to attempt to revive this bird. Get the spark plug off. Put some oil down the cylinder just to lubricate it a bit. And the guy had mentioned it had intermittent run issues, so we are going to definitely pull the carb, clean the pilot and the main jet, check the valve clearances, and give her a good look over. I don't think it's going to take a whole lot to revive. Huh, put a brand new plug in it. Probably the wrong plug, but we'll look that up, because we definitely don't want the piston making contact with the electrode there on the plug. But that is a brand new plug, so I think that's why he had given up, which I just really think he didn't want to get into the car. I mean, he didn't want to remove the gas tank, the air filter housing, and mess with the PCV diaphragm pump and or the carb itself. So this is what I like doing, and I haven't made a video in a long time. So we're gonna revive this bird. And this is just to lubricate the cylinder and piston, especially when the engine is set for excess of 30 days. You want to drop a couple drops of oil down the spark plug hole into the cylinder and slowly pull over the engine to help lubricate the walls of the cylinder, the piston, and the rings. Lubricates the cross hatches.
Unfortunately, I lost some of the video of my removal of the gas tank, the air filter housing, and the carburetor assembly, but we'll continue on with what we have. Thanks, guys.
Okay, I had to kind of look that over for a second. Found the easiest way. I found that hooking your choke lever on this guy first with the plate that's holding the PCV diaphragm pump makes it a little easier, and then put your air filter housing box on. Just slide these guys. Carb mounting studs. There we go. And then with this plate or heat shield and extra gasket kind of aligned. I might do better like this, but then this is going to be in the way. And knocking things off. Let's see. I think I actually made it in the hole. Yeah, I did. Okay, good. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, missing. I've got to get those on. I've kind of jumped the gun there. So we got our top. Yeah, that one goes on the carb. So let's back that out a little bit. So yeah, with these hooks or governor rods, you just kind of have to look at where's the hole location, you know, what orientation, and kind of figure out, like if you didn't really pay attention when they came off, and I may have to make this out a little more. There we go. And then yeah, these are fun. All right. Little spring, where did you go? There you are. So this one. Little spring. Let's reposition here. I got my plate spinning. Oh well. I'm definitely making this probably a lot harder than it needs to be, but we will get it on there. Here it is. Alright. Throttle governor linkages seems to be working correctly. And I thought I was going to have more trouble with that, considering how many little pieces, the multiple piece assembly there. That should give me enough threads to hang on to, I think. And I'll have to reposition that drain, yeah, here in a minute. But let's get the car mounted for that bolt drain fuel line there. Y'all let me know if I missed anything. I am prone to making mistakes. I take, well, I'll give credit to a lot of Watch Wes work, Musty, James Condon, not sure how to pronounce his last name. Sorry, James. And Farmcraft. I love those guys. I watch those guys every day. Yeah. And 2 Vintage. Yeah. Like watching those guys. And they've shown me a lot of tricks and tips and various ways to go about things, and I just like to say thank you. And on my my endeavor of advancing my abilities in various repairs, yeah. So I want to make sure that didn't. Oh yeah, it's still hooked up. Okay, good. All right. That seems all good. Let's drop this guy behind the throttle linkage. There we go. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Now we can throw this guy in. I don't know why I pulled this out. I thought I had to remove the diaphragm pump for some reason. Whatever. Let's get that guy back in there. Alright, we got that carb on and intake assembly. I'm just hooking up the discharge side of the fuel pump, diaphragm fuel pump, to the carburetor. There we go. And then EGR, gas recirculation line from the engine back to the air filter, and then so it can be pulled back in to help reduce emissions and such, like things like that. Unburnt gases, so it tries to reburn the unburnt gases. The emissions thing, I don't know how effective it is or anything, but that's the general idea behind it. Okay, and also our PCV line that helps to creates a pulse within the diaphragm fuel pump to assist in delivering fuel that it has pulled from the tank, which I am now going to reinstall on the machine. So let's drop this guy in here. Do have a rear wash. Needs to go on the bottom stud of the lower mounting stud for the tank. Slip that guy on first, and we can hook the tank to pump line here in a minute. Seems like I may be. Oh no, I'm there. Looks like I'm there. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Okay, now we're lined up there. That's stud for lower mount. Or nut for lower mount. Lower stud. Get these guys on. Not quite aligned up here. There we go. Let's see, still, yeah, 10. You don't have to be crazy tight with that. It's, you know, it's compressing plastic and metal, but you gotta be wary of the plastic there. Just so it's not reverberating or, you know, bouncing off of there. You know. It's a torque spec kind of mount. And I did check with the on the plug because I was a little concerned. It does call for a BP 5 RES. It says more specifically 6 BPR 6 ES for pressure washer applications, and a BPR 5 ES for all other applications, but also the diameter on this one I believe is 14 mil, and the diameter of the other one is maybe 12 or 16. So apparently this is appropriate plug. Okay, back with the Karcher 2400. I started it up, and I didn't show that video, but the pump was leaking. It had pressure, but not as good, not enough, not adequate pressure, you know. And so I was thinking, well, we had the freeze down here in Texas, and you know, a lot of people aren't prepared for that kind of weather. You know, down here we're used to heat, and you know, I'm sure plenty of lawn equipment was left outside, or and or pumps were left with water in the you know, within the pump. And so I was thinking, okay, well, it's probably cracked because of the freeze, you know. And so I was thinking about it while it was leaking. I'm sorry I didn't have that video. And it was spraying all in the same location along the mating surface of the outer pump housing. I'm not really sure what that's called, outer forward or outer pump housing. And so I was thinking, well, I think it's a gasket or something, you know, not really sure. And so I took a gamble here, and I pulled it off, and sure enough, these little guys that ride, well, these guys ride here, but right below them, right below those guys, right here is a little bitty O-ring, and two of them, as you can see right here, were split, and the third in the center was about to go. It was pretty bad too. I don't know the name right off my hand. I was just looking at a pump diagram of this pump to try to, you know, gather some useful information together, and to see if I would be able to obtain a part that I required in, you know, in lieu of this repair, or with this repair. So, you know, I've got plenty of, you know, Harbor Freight nitro O-ring washers and sealing washers, and we're gonna make this work. And so now I'm just trying to clean up the mating surface of the back end of the pistons for the pump. And you know, I apologize, I don't know how this works, you know, in detail. You know, I can just tell that the PTO spins this disc that of course hits some, like, it acts like a cam, and it hits the pistons, which induce the pumping, and at different points because of the tilt of the disc. So it's like a cam, and then it hits those, and I don't know how it, you know, effectively generates its, you know, generates that pressure. But this is not really about describing how pumps work. This is just about general repair of small engine equipment. So I'm just trying to clean up this mating surface now, and I won't bore you with those details. So let me get that out of the way, and I'll get back to you. GoPro, stop recording. Okay, so we got these mating surfaces cleaned up pretty good. Picked the harder stuff and then Scotch-Brite the rest of it. Not perfect, but good enough for a seal. Just placing the new O-rings that I sized with the old one. And I've already placed one on. It seems like it's gonna work just fine. Go. And before I seal that up, this calls for, now this is called I think a splash plate. Yeah, and it calls for 1540, and you want to fill, from what I read, you want to fill to the top of the disc. So I've got some motorcycle oil. I think it's maybe 1040. It's 1040, but that's what we're going to use. It's a little thinner. Well, 15. That's a winner number. Yeah, it's a little thinner. 10. A little thinner, but this should work fine. Better than no oil. So we're just gonna go to the top of the splash plate. I think that's, well, I forget what it's called. Splash plate, maybe. Just moving everywhere. There we go. Just the top of the splash plate. Lubricate the piston, the springs, and the plate itself. So, and this oil seal, it looked pretty good, this oil O-ring. So I just cleaned it up and lubed it before I placed it back in. So now this surface doesn't look too bad. So we're gonna put this guy back on here like that, and the springs are gonna hold it up for now until I compress it down with the studs. Give me a moment on that. Set. I've got to set these little guys, I don't know what they're called, back on here. And these little seals, they looked okay. I really should, yeah, I should WD-40. It's pretty good. Offset that weight a bit. It's pretty good at reconditioning rubber, so we're gonna do a little shot of WD-40 on those guys before we install them. And I did the same with these washers. the water seals, using the water seals, which I thought may have been the culprit. But they look like they've deteriorated a little bit, but it's not too bad. They'll be next to go, I would think. So, let me drop these guys back on here. These seem a little sticky right there. Probably from residue. Let me take a moment to maybe just lightly hit around the edge of these. I don't think those should be sticking that much. I may just do a shot of this too. Just recondition that seal a bit. That seems pretty good. Okay. Got that one sprayed. I've never been into, never worked on a pressure washer pump internally, so just learning as I go. See that guy. There we go. So, carefully, we're going to position this guy on top of this guy. Get a little lower here. See, yeah, gotta do this a little easy. It's just kind of right there, loosely. Not quite ready. All right. Easily set this up. I'm gonna offset that this way with the output discharge. Well, now that's actually inlet suction. So, yeah, all right. So, in our outer face discharge, try to set this on without spinning this guy. Let's see. I'm going to the 3. Oh, so yeah, okay. Alright. Hopefully that was my culprit. It may be, it also could be these guys, but we'll see. Oh. gonna have to redo that. Yeah, it's moving pretty. Pretty cockeyed there. This takes a little doing. Shit. Yeah, these are fun. Those washers may be too small. Yeah, those O-rings may be too small. We're gonna find out. But I gotta get this on first. And that. They're not fun. Leave them on. I think I'm good. I will soon find out if I wasn't on or the washers are not quite the tubular diameter we have been, or axial width and height were too narrow maybe. I'm gonna try to screw this down like a head on the engine as evenly as I can to compress the pistons the same. Threads. Well, GoPro stop recording. GoPro stop recording. All right, hey, we're back with the Karcher pressure washer. All right, I had multiple leaks with the last O-rings that I tried, which were two SAE Harbor Freight O-rings stacked together, and I knew that was going to be a jerry rig fix, and it worked, but not the way it should work. And so I bought a metric kit, and the thickness of these rings on the metric side are a little bit thicker, especially in the ID and OD range, in which I require, and it's perfect for my application, or for the space that I needed this displace. For the space that I needed this place. See, if you see these, I don't know how well, I know these cameras don't zoom. They're quite thin. But this ring, the metric, I don't know if it's the equivalent, but it's pretty close. The thickness is much thicker, in which I require. But the ID is very similar, and the OD is just slightly larger. So I think these will work fine. So let's get, we're gonna get the discharge head off, and we'll see what we got. And I was looking at the previous clips of this repair video, and I noticed I should have been installing the high pressure valves with the discharge side of the pump upside down. Would have made it a lot easier for me, and I'm gonna see if I can do that without the high pressure valves falling too far in the cavity. I don't know if there's a stop there. I got to take a look at that. Let's see. This has been new to me. I've yet to work on a pump. I also want to do this evenly, because otherwise I'm gonna scar the threads from the pressure valves themselves, the spring-loaded pressure valves pushing against the slip disc. That's the proper name, I call it a splash plate in a previous clip. So it's a slip disc connected to the crankshaft. I'm not sure if it's another shaft coupled to the crankshaft, or the crankshaft just is a bit longer than normal on the PTO side. We'll see. Well, we won't see that, but not quite sure. These head bolts out. And take a look here. So we can pull this guy off. pressure valve side of things. There we go. Some idea, which would have made it a lot easier for me. Well, first and foremost, okay, so my intention here, I hope this camera angle is good. Intention here is I ordered new water seals on this end. The oil seals are below this chamber. I'm not sure what that's called. And I think another Teflon and a copper. I think it's below the oil seals, below the Teflon and copper wash there, or sealing wash. But these water seals, you know, you can see some of the residue. Some of that's from the funk of the water, but they're falling. Yeah, I can easily scrape some of that rubber off right now. So I'm pulling those off and putting new ones in. And also, that's a factory replacement part. You know, I probably could go to Karcher and find something of the equivalent size and you know, type and shore or hardness. Not sure. But these high pressure valves, that's what these guys are called. There's a bit of an O-ring here that I showed on the previous clip around this coupling or channel, which I'm not sure on the name. And look, see, this was my jury rig previous fix where I stacked two of the Harbor Freight SAE rings together to get a snug fit, and I've already pinched one of them, and it's about severed. So, you know, that wasn't going to last very long. It wasn't leaking as bad as it did initially, but not the correct fix. So, yeah. So I guess in my basic understanding of this, these high pressure valves off. You know, crankshaft is, I don't know if it's coupled to another shaft that's connected to the slip disc here. This is the slip disc that acts as a cam because it's angled on a certain degree, and it hits the pressure valves, of course, only one at a time because of the tilt of the disc. So it's like a cam lobe disc basically, and it's as it makes contact, of course, these valves can move because they're spring loaded, and it's, you know, you've got a shaft within a barrel, and so they push up, reduce the amount of space in the above chamber, coupled with the head pressure of standard water pressure, which is usually about 35 psi. So reducing the space, thus increasing pressure, and then, you know, I don't really know specifically how it's channeled within these orifices, but I guess gets funneled in a way to these high pressure valves that are actuating within this chamber, within these other little chambers, and those guys are moving as well. So, and then of course, some way outputted through, or I'm sorry, outputted up in through, so through these chambers, and then through these chambers up through the high pressure valves that are creating more pressure, and then thus the smaller cubic area, which would in turn increase pressure, and then out the discharge side of the water pump. That was pretty crude, but we're learning as we go. So let me start with let me get this off of here before I knock it off, as I'm also dripping water in it, in the oil as well. So that's not favorable. Let's just set that guy up here. I think that'll work. Try to pick out the water seals themselves and place new seals within the cavity. Now I'm hoping they do look like they're the right fit. Yeah, good. Sure don't look like much, do they? No, but they look a lot better than what's in there. So the recess down, if you're looking at the, it would be up if it was on the machine, but down if you're looking at the discharge side of the pump, upside down in your hand. Okay. So we got the high pressure, well, the water seal cavities that are on the back end of the pressure valves, or top end, I guess you could say, cleaned out after we had removed the old water seals. And go ahead and well, I guess they're not the same size. Well, that's a bummer. No, they don't go that way. That's a bummer. Well, looks like there's a more, the OD and the ID look identical, but there's this more profound lip here. Yeah. Crap. Yeah. I don't know if I can, it may be a part of the ceiling. Probably is. I think I've just gotta lip that in there, and then, yeah, looks like that's the deal. Yeah, just gotta get that to lip. Well, I had it almost. GoPro, stop recording. Okay, yeah, so the lip just aids in the seal in the cavity to press out on the chamber, so when the water pressure is pushing through, it doesn't force the seal out itself. And then I just tapped it the rest of the way in the hammer, and I'll show that. So just kind of lip, you know, 1/3 of the radial diameter, sometimes about almost a half maybe. And then I just took a little bitty flathead screwdriver while holding the side that I've already lipped down. And well, thankfully I'm not working today. Alright. So yeah, lip, good portion of it, probably about half. You can take your little flathead while holding what you've already lipped down. Get the rest of it to lip. And a little crude there, but again, a little I could definitely tap that in. Not as even as I would like it to be, but it's not a huge deal. Definitely tap that in with a socket and a soft mallet. Oh yeah, here she goes. There she goes. Not too crazy, but you want to make sure, you know, she's flush with the mating surface there. You know, looks to be in almost great order there. All right, let's get the last one in. You guys need some light? A little bit. There, lip, almost half of the water seal. one side. Come around with a little flathead. There we go. Now we're lipped in. Now we can tap that guy in. All right, she's in. Okay. GoPro, stop recording. Okay, now let me show you the O-rings on the, let's see, the O-rings for the high pressure valves for the channel that the high pressure valves rest on. These were gone. They were ruptured or split on mine, and I tried some SAE rings, O-rings, and they did not fit correctly. And let me show you which metric ring did work. Seems to be the right fit, and we'll test run the machine in a little while. So it was the 23/64 ID by 5/64 OD, or the 9x2. This just gives you the, well, ID 23/64 and 5/64 OD, and the 2mm thickness O-ring. So 9mm. I believe that's the 9mm OD. ID, I'm sorry. ID. So those seem to be the ones that fit on a Karcher 2400 pressure washer, 2400 psi pressure washer. And so now I'm taking a gander at after seeing another video of the high pressure relief valve here, or thermocoupler, I think it's also called. And I had already pulled it out previously, and this bottom ring, okay, and this bottom O-ring on the high pressure relief valve was split on mine, or almost split. And I believe, I can't, unfortunately, I apologize, I can't remember exactly which one, but I know it was one of the 23/64 or the 25/64 ID O-rings, or the 9x2 or the 10x2, yeah, millimeter O-ring on the high pressure relief valve, or thermocoupler it's called as well. So the whole assembly sits in like this being the bottom here, and then presses on this. I'm not sure. Okay, we're back. I guess I was having some overheating issues with the GoPro. We'll see how long that lasts. So our high pressure valve, I guess it acts like a PCV, or crankcase ventilation or compression release. I'm not sure how that totally operates, but I guess when the pressure builds up internally within the head or the case itself, it allows that to, of course, the pressure builds up, presses this guy, and then releases the air through the channel right here that is capped with this guy. So this is just a vent cap to prevent debris and other stuff from clogging it. But this O-ring, like I was saying, this O-ring was bad on my pressure relief valve, or thermocoupler. I think it may be officially called. I think it goes by multiple names. And I know I used believe I used the 9x2 millimeter metric O-ring with an ID of 23/64, OD of 5/64, 2 millimeter thickness. And so we're going to go ahead and install this guy back in its receptacle. And this ring looked good. I'm not going to mess with it. And quick check. I'm going to make sure it's actuatable or actuating. Yeah. I may give that just a shot of lubricant. I don't want to put grease in there, have it gunk up. So I'll just do this. Okay. And then our plastic upper body cover there. And we get her screwed back down. And these are a T30 Torx 30. That's a 25. Here, 27, and T30. There we go. And attempt to cap this guy back on. I don't know how well this is gonna go. These are probably a pain and a half. GoPro, stop recording. Alright, just pried out those little tabs there on the cap, and that made it a lot easier to get back on. I don't know what the correct name of that fastener is called, but it seemed to do the trick. And lubricated the plungers within the high pressure valves themselves to kind of help restore them a bit, recondition them, if you will. And so now we'll do this the easy way. Last time I was doing it upside down, it was much harder. And try to situate these plungers as evenly as possible. And we'll set this guy, set the valve body within this discharge side of the pump housing. Alright, so that was way easier than how I was doing it before. And then holding that together, we will, and looks like I lost a hair of oil, so I'm gonna replenish that a bit. I read a manual that stated you want to have the oil to the top of the slip disc, and because the valves were kind of submerged in some of that oil, I lost a little bit from when I previously had filled, and it calls for 1540. I'm using 1040 because that's what I have available. That's the closest spec, and good anti-friction here. Motorcycle oil, and I'm just going to go to the top of the slip disc here, slip disc cam, and there we go. I'm going to call that good. Alright, now we'll resecure the outer pump housing and valve body to the bottom half, or the main body of the pump. And you want to do this evenly, otherwise you're going to catch your threads and you ended up dyeing your stud or tapping your holes, and I don't want to do that. And or putting uneven pressure on the valves. I don't think that's gonna damage anything, but yeah, I would be concerned about the threads. So I'm just gonna go about three rotations and try to crisscross the best I can. Click. 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 And maybe a double check. Click. 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 And click. There we go. GoPro, stop recording. Okay, so we have the pressure washer. We have the inlet on, and we are leaking a little bit. Not as bad as before. There may be another O-ring that's bad. That may be part of its duty on this pump. I don't think so, but it could be, because it was bypassing water straight out the discharge side. So maybe till pressure is built and has somewhere to go, till the valves are opened and have somewhere to go, maybe that's its duty. I don't think so, but that's a possibility. Well, let's just see what we got. Dribble. straightened out the sides before. Still leaking, but something about my high pressure side too is not. Shouldn't be doing that. Wasn't doing that before. Still got a problem. Oh, it's stayed a little longer, but it's still. Huh.